You don't have problems. You don't have them. And you're like, Lance, come on, I got bills to pay. I got kids, you know, I mean, I got this going on. I got to do this. I got this. I get it. You got some problems, but what you don't really have them. What you have is you have a reasons issue. You don't have a big enough reason to solve your problems yet. Now, I remember my buddy, devout husband, devout father, man of God, good friend of mine. We played together. Then he gets the GA position, right? That's all volunteer at the baseball team. He gets the GA position for 2 years. Then he gets promoted and he becomes the pitching coach of a Division I organization at University of Minnesota. And then some point in 2022, he's getting migraines, right? He's getting speckles in his eyes. He's blacking out. He can't figure out what's wrong with him. This goes on for like 6 months. He's going to doctor after doctor after doctor, and everyone says the same thing. They said, you're healthy. They took his vitals, normal. They took his blood work, perfect. And he's thinking it's him. He's like, man, I just hit 30. There must be something wrong with me. Then it starts to get progressively worse. He has to take time out of work. He takes a leave of absence. And this is one of the toughest dudes I've ever met. Was a hockey player in Minnesota, 2 hip replacements, shoulder surgery, Tommy John. He's a grinder, man. But now it comes a point where like he can't even work. He's got drop foot. He's blacked out. He can barely sleep because his head hurts so much. And he gets a call from a doctor. Finally, somebody says, hey, you got something called Lyme. And he literally is like in a life or death situation. And at this point, he burns the boats. He says, all right, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And they go to Florida. They go to the #1 institution for Lyme disease. And I called him the other day and I was asking about this. I was like, Ty, do you have any idea how much you guys spent? He said, Lance, we did the math the other day. It was close to $500,000. Because when you're faced with a life and death situation, you burn the boats, right? He said, it wasn't just me who spent. It wasn't just insurance. It was my family. It was my community. It was everybody that stepped up to save my life. And I said, Ty, it must have been because you were in a life and death situation. That's the reason that got you through, right? Because if you're about to die, you'll do anything to live. So that problem with Lyme, it becomes insignificant. Right, he said, I was taking 100 pills a day. I was doing a colon cleanse. Like I was doing gut cleanses. I was doing anything that I put in my body had to be good for me. Right, I was doing holistic medication all day at the Lyme clinic. I was driving 2 hours both ways. We did everything. We poured everything to stay alive. And I said, Ty, it had to have been because you were about to die, that you found a big enough reason to live. He said, no, Lance. I need you to understand this. It's bigger than that. I was like, what do you mean? How could it be bigger than that? He goes, because at some point when you're going to die, it's more than life and death. He said, I literally had to give the results to God. He said, if I die, if I live, that's not up to me. But he said this, and this is what I want to take with you as you're about to approach the phones. He said, it became about how I want to be remembered. How is my daughter going to remember me? How is my wife going to remember me? How is my community going to remember me? How is my family going to be remembered of Ty? What are they going to think when they think of me? Am I a coward or somebody when it gets difficult, I curl up and die? Or when I face difficult situations, when a disease comes to me, I know what built me and I say, no. At this moment, I'm going to fight. And whether I'm dead or alive, people are going to remember that I fought. So I want to ask you today, who has sacrificed for you? Like, what is your wife, your kids, right? Somebody, your spouse, your parents, who has sacrificed for you? Some of you have probably been close to death, right? Or some of you have been in a situation where you're like, man, if that person didn't step up for me and sacrifice everything, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be in the situation that I am. So who has sacrificed for you is what I want you to think about when you take that phone. And I want to ask you this. When are they going to get a return on their investment? When are that person who sacrificed for you going to get a return on their investment? And I know money is not everything. I get it. But as long as you're here today,
as long as you're pleasant today, and you're in this office today for a reason, for such a time as this, and everybody else is on vacation, everyone else doing tax resolution services is sleeping or on vacation, but you're here and you got leads coming in. As long as you're here, you do the very best that you can. You call again. You close again. You pick up the phone again. And you work all day until you're finished. Right? And that's how, at the end of your life, you're going to be able to say, I scraped the bowl. I got everything out of my purpose. I got everything out of my calling. I had the best relationship. I had the best family, right? I made everything I could so I could steward it and go bless other people. Y'all with me? Let's get it.